The elect are those who hear his voice and are doing their best to follow him. Like it's that simple. And the elect can be in varying stages of spiritual progression. It doesn't mean they're more or less elect.
Well, especially early on, and as the church was first gaining its footing, there was certainly a need that the Lord had for the early saints to go out and find those who could add a lot of strength, a lot of depth to the population of the church in a lot of different aspects. Faith and that faithfulness being first and foremost, but to go out and find the elect who could truly enhance and help drive towards Zion, towards everything that the Lord was seeking to build. And, we kind of joke sometimes, especially you and I, we give, Utah kind of a hard time. And we joke about a lot of things, and people, especially early on, or people who might be somewhat critical of the church, they can be very dismissive about the fact that so many of our early church leaders, heck, even down to today, a lot of our church leaders stem from, some, what would you say? I don't want to say famous families, but there's definitely now. Well, I wasn't necessarily going there. I was just saying there's definitely posterity and kind of several branches of early devout members and leaders of the church where their posterity has been integral in the continued growth and leadership of the church. But that's not because there's anything nefarious or any kind of nepotism or anything like that. For the most part, not to say that's never existed, but honestly, it is those truly elect and faithful early saints, early members of the church, who were willing to sacrifice.
Well, they were tried in all things, right?
That's what I'm saying. They left a legacy that was impactful and truly transformative, not only for themselves, but for future generations, right? And so it's not a coincidence that legacy and that spirit of faith led to many of their posterity continuing to lead and guide the church and the Lord's kingdom on the earth. Now, the church is much more diverse today than it was, than it has been historically. Great. That's a good thing. But it's not a negative, nor is it something that should be dismissed that, yeah, a lot of the early church members there was a very tight group, very tight-knit group. That makes sense. You had a true legacy of faithfulness and devotion to the Lord that was carried on through several generations of posterity. And that's a blessing. It's a strength that the Lord was able to utilize. And we shouldn't be critical of that at all. There was certainly something to that. And it's a lesson for us to truly be men and women of action, of faith, and set that example, not to be the weak link, but to be the strength that future generations look to and can be transformed through as well.
It's all who you know.
Well, we also say that as well. It does help to be in certain circles.
Salvation is all about who you know. You got to know Jesus.
Thank you. That's correct.
All right.
Hit that like button, leave us a comment, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it.
They may seem like little things, but liking, commenting, it helps the algorithm push our content out to more people. So it's our small way of sharing the gospel in a social media age.